Hi, you guys. It's George here, and I apologize that I may have left some of you guys in the lurch with this Indian motorcycle rebuild. I checked this morning. It's been 2 years since I've done a video on this 2003 Indian Chief that I have been building from the frame up. I don't know if you remember the story, but it's a frame that I had purchased from someone. It was a registered vintage model, and they decided to do something else with the motorcycle, like make a chopper or a custom bike. And so I ended up purchasing the frame and the title as a unit, and it's given me this opportunity to rebuild this bike from the frame up. And this would be the 5th video. I think this is episode 5. And if you care to refamiliarize yourself with the other videos, you know, I am not a professional motorcycle builder, just an average blue-collar guy who loves these 2003 Gilroy Indian Chiefs. I truly believe they're works of art, and I have been working on them now for around 15 years, and I have worked on quite a few of these, and I have rebuilt a good handful of what are the Power Plus 2002-2003 Indian Chiefs. And so we were up to episode 4, and part of my hiatus was for health reasons. I actually had a pretty hard year for myself personally, with some health problems and also some life-changing problems, life-changing situations that came my way in 2016. And so it's why I haven't posted anything about the motorcycle since then. But I'm bound and determined. It's early in January of 2019, and I'm bound and determined to be able to ride this bike around the countryside here in our state of Connecticut. So if you care to follow me through the rebuild, I'm happy to make a connection or reconnection with you guys and take you along with me. So as I said, I looked this morning to see I had left off at episode 4, and I would explain to you that on episode 4 I was explaining how I installed the transmission. And the lesson of episode 4 was that you didn't just bolt the transmission to the frame. Actually, the bolt holes that hold the transmission in place to this beautiful, very husky Power Plus frame. I mean, look at the thickness of this cast steel gusset here, all welded around. There is not a frame that's made like this, you guys. Look at the neck. Look at the thickness of the neck over here. I mean, it's a full 2 inches thick. So, all new powder coated. The engine is a rebuild by Joe Malfa in Reno, Nevada, and it's been made into a performance engine. Everything's chrome. The cases were repowder coated. It has new pistons. It has new lifters. It has a performance cam. It's going to get a Makuni racing carburetor, a 45 millimeter racing carburetor. It's a single fire custom ignition. So, you know, I'm able to take this to, you know, 2 or 3 levels above what even the factory did. Excuse my enthusiasm for once again showing off this beautiful piece and the materials that went into making this. But getting back to the transmission, so if I can sneak around this side over here, we might actually have a bit of a better look at the transmission. So putting the transmission in is a bit of interfacing the transmission with the rear wheel, for the simple fact that the belt has to track completely parallel to the drive sprocket, to the belt drive sprocket on the transmission. All that has to be in perfect alignment. And if you would watch episode 4, next comes the engine. The engine has to also be perfectly parallel to the transmission. So when the inner primary case is bolted up, it's not crooked, or you run the damage of either, cracking the inner primary, which many a backyard mechanic have done by not lining this up properly. And so in video number 4, I would have talked about lining this up with the rear. However, the permanent engine wasn't in. In the last video I did, I just used the lower case. But now I'm happy and proud to show off this new engine that's in there with compression release valves to take some of the pressure off the electrical components on the bike. It allows it to start very, very, very easy, very smooth, because electrically you're not fighting the high compression that's in these 2 cylinders, which when it's redone comes out to about 105 to 108 cubic inches. So that's where I'm at. I have just installed the engine. In fact, I would be able to wiggle this right now, because see how I moved it? It's actually not bolted in place. So the part of the process I'm involved with now is what I will do in the days that follow is to build this primary, this wet primary, which means it has a primary chain that is dipped or bathed in oil as it spins. That's why we call it a wet primary, as opposed to a dry primary, which would use a belt like this that didn't require oil. So that's where I'm at now. I would point out that when you're changing an engine, swapping engines, reinstalling an engine, it's always a good idea to put some of this blue painter's masking tape. The engine would have been put in from the other side. But what you want to do is tape up the frame, tape up the lower part, tape up the engine mounts. You want to tape it with blue masking tape or masking tape, so that when the engine is dropped in, you're not scraping it across your frame that you've just had repowder coated. So that's my next step, you guys, to have you guys, next time you tune in, I hope to have the primary done. Not sure what else I'll have had done by that point. I will point out to you that the wheels, these are not the permanent wheels. These wheels were just for a mock-up. It was just so that I could have a rolling frame or a rolling chassis, and it was also so that I could properly align the transmission. In 1 or 2 minutes here, I will show you the wheels that are going to go on this. The other thing that I've done is I've installed these 1¼ inch fat bars. You can see the tachometer has been installed. You can see that the wiring harnesses have been pulled through. And so I've identified all of these wires that go up into either side of the handlebar. I've identified them with an ohm meter. I've used the electrical schematic that's in the technical manual, and I have made sure that everything is correctly pulled through. The right wires are in the correct places in the handlebar switches, and I've also checked for grounds. It's a good idea to use your ohm meter and to check for grounds as you move along. So these other harnesses need to be connected as we continue to build this. Now I think we can just swing around right here without even stopping. And so you guys, I'm happy to show off my red Springfield. So my collection is pretty extensive, which I think I've mentioned to you guys. I'm actually embarrassed to tell you how many Indian motorcycles that one man can have, but this is one of them. And I think you guys have met my black Springfield. I know you met the blue and silver one, and I think I introduced you to the cream, the all cream Chief 2. They're all 2003s. So this is the red Springfield. That was another one of my rebuilds, but I really just restored this. So I did change the engine, I didn't change the transmission, I didn't have to have the frame powder coated. I had the sheet metal touched up, you guys. I had the pinstriping done, the gold pinstriping, the green pinstriping. I had everything re-chromed. It's a brand new rebuilt engine, again, from Joe Malfa. And so here's how she came out. I mean, this is the way it looks. And this has been on the road about 2 years. There's no place that I go with this where, you know, I don't get a lot of attention. So I love my black Springfield, and I love my red Springfield also. Now the new Chief that I'm building, you guys, I'm keeping it a secret what color I intend to paint that. And I'll look for your approval when I get the sheet metal installed on that and see what you guys think about the color that I painted. So I'd like to explain to you why I've got the red Springfield here in my shop and set up on a stand. Just a little trick, you guys. This is a pit bull lift. And so I actually have two of the full table lifts like you'd find in a dealership. I have two of those. I have one in the basement of the house with the Chief on it. And of course I have one out here in my shop with this Chief. But I also use these pit bull lifts, but just in the idea of wanting to be safe all the time. If you're going to do any work, anything besides cleaning your white walls or detailing your motorcycle, I usually clamp these wooden blocks in 4 different places. That allows you to at least be able to put some pressure on this pit bull lift without doing the unthinkable, which would be unintentionally turning or twisting or dragging the motorcycle off. So I just thought I'd show you that sort of a little safety precaution that I take. So getting back to this red Springfield, the primary needed some attention. I wanted to change one of the gaskets. I wanted to change one of the seals where the primary bolts up to the engine. And so I had a new automatic chain adjuster to install in it. So here's what I said to myself. I said, if I go try and build the brand new primary in the bike that I'm building and use the manual and use the parts manual and the technical manual, I didn't want to forget a washer, or I didn't want to forget the proper alignment of something. So I said to myself, why don't you do your service on the primary on this bike so that I have all these components in one place on one of my work tables. That way there I can assemble all the new components for the Chief that we're building together. I could assemble them side by side because I know what came off of this yesterday. And now I know what I need to put back onto this and also what I need to put on the one we're building. So I like to think that common sense and good reason is always our best friend. And so instead of just trying to be bravado and thinking that I could do everything and anything, I thought I'd cheat and give myself a motorcycle to look after. And so these are actually the wheels, you guys. These are what are going on the one we're building. And so they're powder-coated British racing green, which in my mind I think of as a World War II color green that a pickup truck might be. And also you'll notice that it's a color I've used before on a red motorcycle too. So these are going to go on the one we're building. I just think it gives it another level of looking very old school and looking somewhat retro. So I thought I'd give you guys a look at what I'm up against with the primary here. So this group of primary parts in front of me are what came out of the red Springfield that we were just looking at in the other part of my shop. So you can see the compensating drive sprocket on this side. You can see the clutch basket on this side, along with the primary chain. This is the rotor. Of course, the stator would be the part that contains the fields that actually goes in the lower casement on the engine itself. And so the rotor, this part is what would spin, and actually it becomes a little power plant. So this part of the motorcycle actually creates its own DC power, and that's what powers our motorcycle through a rectifier. So we actually, by the fact that the gasoline fires a spark plug and starts a gasoline engine, allows the pistons to go up and down, that's transformed to the drive shaft, which goes to the rear wheel, right, and that belt, and it makes the motorcycle go. We're also capturing the inertia of the rotor and the stator, just as you would with any motor generator. So in this front part of the primary, we're creating our DC power. And that DC power is coming out to the rectifier that we find in front of the frame on the motorcycle, and it's purifying those waves, those sine waves, and it's creating a 12-volt DC power to power our bike electrically. So it's pretty cool how the primary is actually its own little mechanical power plant and also electrical power plant. And I don't know if you've ever thought of it that way, but that's how it is. And so these are the old parts that I don't have to do anything to. Basically, I'm just changing some gaskets and a seal. And then these are the new parts, you guys. So here is the inner primary that I took off yesterday, where the clutch basket would go here, the compensating drive sprocket would go here. This is the inner primary that came off the red Springfield. And as you can see back here, these are the brand new parts that are going to go in the one we're building. So here's a brand new clutch basket and its drive sprockets, which has never been used. So that's from the Gilroy factory. I was fortunate enough to acquire these parts over the years. A brand new primary chain, and then the compensating drive sprocket parts are here also. So I have the used parts from the red Springfield, and I have these brand new parts. So this the motorcycle that we're building is actually going to be as good as a motorcycle that came from any factory. The fact that it's being built by an individual in a very slow, methodical, sort of painstaking way, I think is going to add to its history immensely. And I will be excited when I am able to unveil what color that bike is going to be. And so, hey, you guys, once again, I apologize for disappearing on you all for 2 years. Actually, it's like 2 years and 3 months. Again, I had circumstances in my life, like we all do, that required immediate attention. And so I hope you'll forgive me, and I hope you'll continue to tune in. And we're going to take you through finishing that 2003 motorcycle up to our first ride around the countryside here sometime in the next 2 or 3 months in the springtime. So hey, you have a great day, and we'll see you around on YouTube.